Hello and welcome back to our podcast. My name is Dr. Alison Chiwara and I'm your host for this podcast. And I'm hoping that today we'll have a very clear and candid conversation around the day-to-day stuff. You know, I was speaking to somebody the other day and they were talking about figuring life out, that it's a never-ending journey. It's a never-ending game of change. Have you ever watched people who or you enter in a room and they look like they have it all put together, they have it all figured out? That person who seems to know exactly where they're going. Have you ever found yourself just thinking, do you know what? They must have figured it out. I used to think that too, until I came across some of these people that I admired, people with more money than I could imagine, people who have built companies, people who have influenced governments, people who've led nations, people who've championed huge initiators, and people who carried unimaginable responsibility. And you know what surprised me most? Behind closed doors, when the cameras were off and the microphones packed away, and they were asking the very same questions that we all ask. What do you think we need to do next? It hit me like a wave. Literally hit me like a wave. The people I thought had arrived were still also figuring it out. Now, there's nothing bad about it, because what I'm about to share with you sheds on that reality, that it is just life. Maybe adulthood isn't what we thought it would be. Maybe leadership isn't all about figuring and knowing it all. Maybe success isn't really or truly about having all the answers in that sector. Maybe wisdom is simply becoming comfortable enough to admit that, you know what, I'm still learning. We are still learning. You see, the Japanese have a way of looking at life that I find deeply comforting. There's a philosophy called Shoshin, and it translates to the beginner's mind. Something like that. Don't quote me on it. It sort of suggests that moments you believe you've mastered something, that moment you think you know it all, you've stopped growing. That's what Shoshin suggests. That expects remains, that even if you're an expert, you should remain teachable. The master should remain curious. And the student never truly graduates, because you're forever learning. And perhaps that's why the older I have probably become, the less interested I am in being right and the more interested I'm in understanding. See, the last weeks have changed something in me, not in a kind of dramatic way, but more like the first light of dawn creeping through, your curtains when you wake up and you just kind of open the curtains ever so slightly, almost unnoticed, and suddenly the room is bright. I found myself becoming more present. Not because life has slowed down. If anything, it has become busier. But because I have chosen to. I've started noticing the ordinary in ways I never used to. I don't know whether it's an age thing, but the way the morning light dances across the kitchen floor when I come downstairs is different for me now. The smile of a stranger who has no idea they've just softened someone else's burden actually gives me comfort. And the familiar voices of my family, my friends on the other end of the phone mean more to me than anything else. And of course, the sound of, just day-to-day things that somehow sound different when you're not in a hurry. And perhaps most profoundly of all, I found myself appreciating the simple ability to see. Literally, like I say literally, one day I'll go into this. To wake up and open your eyes, to read, to write, to notice colors I had forgotten to admire, to watch people expressions, to look out of a window and realize that what I once considered ordinary is in fact extraordinary. It's funny how close we sometimes have to come to losing something before we finally learn to hold it with gratitude. I no longer see sight as something automatic. Literally, I see it as a privilege. And strangely, as my physical appreciation for seeing has deepened, and too has my emotional vision. I find myself seeing people differently, literally. I look at opportunities differently and seeing setbacks in a completely different light too. The Japanese speak of Mizu no Kokoro. It's a mind like water. Imagine throwing a pebble into a still pond. Just close your eyes for a minute with me. Throw it, nope, it drops. The water doesn't actually argue with the stone. It does something extraordinary. It doesn't actually resist the interruption. It simply responds beautifully into ripples that spread, then slowly and almost in a very beautiful manner, stillness returns. I wonder if that's what maturity really looks like. You know, when you look at it from a completely different angle, not avoiding life's interruptions, but learning how to actually return to stillness after those interruptions. There was a time when every inconvenience felt like evidence that life was against me. A cancelled meeting felt like, wow, a delayed flight. Am I losing money? A difficult conversation. Do I really need to be in this? And an unexpected setback would just really unshackle me. Now I find myself asking things or questioning things differently. I ask myself, what is this moment trying to teach me? That's what I do now, because perhaps every interruption is a potential for you to slow down. It's an opportunity for you to slow down, to notice, to rethink, and just really recenter yourself. I hope I'm speaking to somebody today. I remember standing still recently and just absolutely doing nothing productive by the world standards, just still, just watching people. A dad lifting his daughter onto his shoulders after a football match, an elderly couple holding hands without saying a word, but they were saying a lot. A woman laughing so deeply she even forgot anyone else was even watching. For years, I might have walked straight past all of this. My mind already embedded in tomorrow, into next week. My body present, but my spirit somewhere else already. But this time, I stayed. Something had moved. Something had maneuvered. Something had shifted. I realized I haven't spent much of my life, or rather I have spent much of my life chasing extraordinary moments while overlooking the extraordinary nature of ordinary ones. Maybe fulfillment isn't hidden in our next milestones. Maybe it's hidden in finally paying attention, just being still and just staying. There's another Japanese philosophy called Yutori, Yutori, Yutori. It speaks of creating intentional spaciousness. Are you with me? So it's not really emptiness, no. It's not being lazy either. It's allowing yourself room to breathe, room to notice, and the ability to experience life rather than simply survive within it. Does this make sense? I hope I'm speaking to somebody today. How often do we find ourselves rushing from one achievement to another without actually allowing ourselves to stay in the moment that we've worked so hard to reach? Do you know what I mean? It's like we are so keen on my next award, my next project, my next milestone. we finish one goal, and immediately next week, we're chasing something new. We achieve one dream, and instantly we are comparing ourselves to someone else's. We tick boxes, but we never celebrate, even if they're small. They are ours to own. No wonder so many people feel empty despite succeeding, because they never stopped long enough to let that taste of success touch them so they can be content. The last few weeks have quietly taught me something I wish someone had told me years ago. Growth isn't about becoming more than I already am. Sometimes it's about finally noticing that what I am is enough. Noticing what already is. Noticing what I've already done. Noticing what I already have around me. You know, my dear friend, Lady K, often says, "You are enough." She reminds everyone of her people in a tribe. You are enough. Sometimes it's about seeing with fresh eyes, like I am now, listening with fresh ears, and feeling with a perhaps softer heart that is less logical, but just feeling, just beating. It's about understanding that self-growth should not only be measured by promotions or whatever accolades that we're getting or whatever profits. Sometimes it's measured by how deeply you notice a sunset. Simple things, ordinary things that when we give them time and attention, they become extraordinary. So they becomes the extra in the ordinary. How fully you listen to someone speaking. That again is just ordinary. But when you really, really listen, you'll be amazed by what you hear. And those are the moments that create ordinary to extraordinary. And how sincerely you are grateful, how you say thank you to somebody, how you intentionally put your phone down when someone needs your attention, how you will choose presence over all else. You see, there's a Japanese philosophy that I absolutely love. I often speak about this, Kaizen. It reminds us that tiny improvements are what creates remarkable transformation more times than not. But perhaps those improvements aren't always external for other people to see. They are improvements that we feel. Perhaps the greatest improvement is learning to be fully here in this life, fully awake, totally grateful, completely present. I used to believe clarity came from planning harder. Now I think clarity often comes from paying closer attention, not to anything in particular, but mostly to ourselves and to others. And to those small, quiet moments we keep drowning out with noise. And maybe that's what figuring out really means. It's not about having more answers than we had when we last went to bed, but perhaps it's about asking better questions. It's about moving with greater awareness of ourselves and others around us, and not becoming someone else, but really about finally meeting the person you've been too distant to know, yourself. So today, I really want to ask you something and leave you with a question. When was the last time you truly noticed your own life? Not the one that you have on LinkedIn, not the one that appears in your photos, not the one that other people have been posting about you, but the simple existence of you. When was the last time you sat with your own thoughts without reaching out for a phone, a screen, but just you yourself, and you. When was the last time you looked at the people you love and realized that this ordinary Wednesday one day will become the memory you wish you could relive? When was the last time you thanked your body for carrying you? Your eyes for allowing you to witness beauty in a way that felt ordinary, and yet it is extraordinary. When was the last time you thanked your mind for continuing to learn? Your heart for refusing to give up? Your heart for allowing you to feel, experience, be loved, to love, and really fall in love with yourself? Because perhaps, don't quote me on this, but maybe the greatest miracle isn't found in the extraordinary, but in the ordinary that we create extras of to make them extraordinary. Are you with me? Perhaps it's about waking up each morning with another opportunity to love, be loved, build, relearn, unlearn, and witness more beauty. Or even to see a little more clearly. Perhaps waking up to love a little more deeply, or to understand a little more honestly, or maybe the opportunity to appreciate what was always there but somehow escaped your attention. And maybe that's the real reward of growth. Not that life becomes easier, but that you become more present within the life that you have and be happy with what you have. You begin to realize that the destination was never where the treasure was buried, like the rainbow. The treasure was hidden in the walk itself, in the conversations that you will continue to have, in the pauses that you allow yourself, and in the unexpected detours that life perhaps will serve you. Or perhaps the treasure was hidden in the people, in the tribe that you have, in the lessons learnt and learned, and in the ordinary moments that quietly become extraordinary because you simply finally slow down enough to notice them. So, if you're still figuring it out, like me, welcome. You're exactly where you're meant to be. But may I add a word of caution. Walk gently. Stay super curious. Leave rooms for surprises. You must have room for surprises in your life. And don't let life rush you past today, chasing for next week or next year. Because one day you look back and discover that the life you were trying so desperately to build was quietly unfolding all around you, all along anyway. And the clearest vision you will ever gain wouldn't just be through your eyes. It will be through your presence. So from me, from human focus, to your households, to your communities, your societies, your nations, it's goodbye for now until next Wednesday. Do keep tuned, and please subscribe, like, and love, and comment, because these podcasts are just for you, especially for you. Yours truly, present.